Avatar asks us all to be warriors for the Earth. This beautiful, fragile miracle of a planet that we have right here is our land, not ours to own, but ours to defend and protect. We collectively as a society live in denial that all of these things are happening, all these negative curves are happening in terms of the temperature rising and the soil being depleted and the ocean being more acidified and all of the things that are happening. And we sort of feel like, well, we've made it this far and business as usual has worked. Let's just continue that way. And or we feel overwhelmed as individuals that we can actually do anything about it. So we live in denial. So I thought, all right, if this is coming from an emotional place, what does a movie do? A movie can create an emotional reaction. So Avatar is not here to teach or preach, it's here to create an emotional reaction. And when you see the tree fall, when you see something so magnificent being destroyed, you feel an emotional reaction. When you see the Na'vi people being pushed out of the way as if they're insignificant, you feel an emotional reaction, and that sense of moral outrage is exactly what we need to feel about what's happening right now on our own planet right here. And when we see the hammerheads and the banshees come to the rescue and see Mother Nature on Pandora rise up in a way that it can't rise up here, we feel a great sense of vindication. And so, good destroys evil in the film, and that gives us a sense of hope. And I think there's something about that mix of feeling a sense of connectedness, followed by a sense of moral outrage, followed by a sense of hope, that there is hope, that is exactly the right kind of fertile emotional soil to actually produce some form of activism, whether it's just at a personal level or whether people feel that they want to get involved at an organizational level, or whether it's just a heightened political awareness. Any of those things will suffice.
Because the thing you tend to do with corporate behavior is that you tend to say that it robs people of their ability to think rather than making them evil.
Sure. Well, I know where you're going with this. Big media corporations that
yeah, where are we exactly again?
Attacking toward the irony that this was produced by Fox.
Yes, well, Roger Ailes is going to come up and ask you a couple of questions now, I think.
No, I think there are some ironies in this film. One is that we use the most advanced computer imaging technology in the world to do something about people living at an indigenous level barefoot in a rainforest. I don't have a problem with that at all, because that's called movie making. Movies are technical, and if it gets to an emotional truth, it doesn't matter. But there is this other interesting irony that 20th Century Fox, which owns Fox News, which is obviously pretty hard right, actually made this movie. But the film division. The film division is different people. That's one thing. The network and the film division are separate. Two, I worked for Fox for, God, I don't even want to say, 20 years minimum. And actually, Aliens was in '85, so I had 25 years. Yeah, with a little time off for good behavior to do Terminator 2 for another company. But
but you came back.
Yeah, look, they're just about profit. They're not ideological, and I've never had any pressure ideologically on any film that I've done, including Avatar. Now, when you start talking about profit in the movie business, any studio, regardless of their parent company, would tell you it's not a good idea to make a big, expensive entertainment movie with an ecological or with an environmental theme. That's not just Fox. That's any of them.
I mean, we can go back to Silent Running, which is one of the first movies that attempted to do so. And it attempted to do this very same kind of thing. It warned us in 1971 about what we were doing to the environment even then.
Yeah, nice Joan Baez score,
Yeah.
But that movie was made for $1 million, and it was at a time when it was practically an independent film.
Absolutely.
But you start talking about a $200+ million movie that's got a score bullseye as entertainment worldwide. You're not going to find anybody that's going to want to, like, with gusto, back a movie that's an environmental film. And I was actually asked to sort of tone it down, and I said I don't want to do that.
Well, first and foremost, do you say that it? But for the men who protagonists in your films, it's almost always the arrogance of the industrialized world. My point of view is better than your point of view.
Right.
They have to get beyond that to gain second sight, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. And you see, I mean, it wasn't in these clips, but you see the kind of the guy that represents the corporate interests. You know, he's blind. He's not seeing. He's not seeing what these Navi people, you know, what they are, what their value system is. He says, well, we try to give them medicine. We try to give them roads. They don't want that. They like mud, you know. And it really is, there's nothing that we have that they want. They have what they need. In order to really make things happen in the world and avoid conflict, we have to understand the other guy's value system. We can't just try to impose our value system on them. It's not going to work. The whole movie is about changing perception. I mean, it starts with the character opening his eyes right at the beginning, and it ends with the character opening his eyes. You enter the film being told that this is a horrible place where everything there is going to kill you, that it's toxic, that the human base is called Hell's Gate. It's the gateway to hell. And then slowly, gradually, over a period of a 2-hour and 40-minute experience of this film, you start to perceive it as an Eden, as an amazing, beautiful, wondrous miracle of a place. And that all comes from my perception of the natural world here on Earth. We were tasked with designing all these creatures and plants and everything for this movie. And every time we thought we had a great idea, somebody would bring in a photograph or some bit of reference that nature here had beat us to the idea. And we ultimately, just at the end of a 2-year design process, had to just admit with great humility that nature's imagination was better than the combined imagination of the best visual artists on the planet that I had gathered to make Avatar. It's true. You know, so there's an interesting irony that we've spent all this time and energy creating a false world when we have such a wonderful world right here. But I consider it, a kind of a valid exercise to go to a movie, feel opened up. Like, when you're a kid and you're walking in the woods, you just feel open. You feel open to everything. And as an adult, you become more distant from that. And I think in our world, we're suffering from nature deficit disorder, and we need to.
Well, we separated because we basically plowed so much right under. Absolutely.